Hi, yeah, okay. I think we'll call this a third video before we perhaps start getting really into some design, some drawing. I think I mentioned before about doing a layout sketch in here. This is where we're going to start thinking about the regulations as well. So I believe if we look at my layout sketch in here, okay, again, I like it because my model starts on the origin. I've got this point down here. So we're going to start putting in some fundamental dimensions. So these are the main dimensions. We can always come in and we can edit them, okay? But we're going to use this sketch to kind of drive some parts of our design, okay? So we need to set the height of the wheels in here. Now this notch, this little notch in here, it doesn't help that there isn't a definitive point on it, but this needs to be, I think, 34 millimeters from the ground, or 34, 36. I think it's 34 millimeters from the ground. The wheels, we have to use the standard wheels. They are 30 millimeters in diameter. Okay. So to set that height, my wheel needs to be, no, that's saying they're 18.2, which is a little bit weird. Okay, but I think it's about 11 millimeters down from this point here. Okay, but what I really want is so if I put a little reference point in here, okay, again I can click on my origin or even this line. Oh, it doesn't like it, does it? Because yes, sorry. So perhaps I'll just click on the plane. Okay, let's give me a ground clearance of 4 millimeters. Okay, because I've got a ground clearance here of 4 millimeters, which is typically, I think, what we need to get us to get this notch here. Again, I'll check it on the regulations, but because this sketch is going to drive all my other designs, if I make a change here, hopefully it will rebuild that model later on. Okay, so I've got certain fundamental points here that I'm going to put in this. I could put my wheelbase in here. As you can see, this isn't completely defined. So just as a guidance, the Thundercat wheelbase from last year was 100 millimeters. The H-Rock wheelbase that went to the Nationals, it was a slightly longer car, so that was 110 millimeters. Okay. Similarly, this distance from the wheel to the back of the car, the H-Rock was, I think, was 40 millimeters. Thundercat was just slightly shorter. I think it was about 38 millimeters. Okay, but these are sort of fundamental distances that we're gonna put in. Um, so on the car, I'm going to design here. I'm going to think about, this is the sort of the areas of design I'm going to look at, is moving this wheel as far back as I can. I don't like the canister hanging out the back. Okay, so I might change this. I'm going to have this around 35. And I'm going to set my wheelbase to the same as the H-Rock National car. So we're going to go 110 here, okay? And as you can see here, that puts the wheel slightly further out from the no-go zone. So maybe I could use that to my advantage. Maybe I could start narrowing the car in a little bit here for the wheels. These other lines that I've got here. Okay, so these lines here are the maximum length and the minimum length for the car. Okay, so again, I've got an idea about what I'm going to be drawing and designing in here. Okay. So that's perhaps all the information I'm going to put on here for the moment. All right, but we can see what we've got here. Okay? Perhaps another little tip: as cars or things get more complex, you can change the colours of the sketches these days. All right, so if I go in here for my layout sketch, if I right-click, I can edit that appearance. Okay, so if I want to say I'm going to change the colour of it slightly, yeah. So I'm going to actually, I want it a little bit darker maybe. I'm going to go there, over that one. Okay, it helps if you've got a number of sketches appearing at the same time. Okay, remember P turns off all your planes if you want to turn the planes off. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I've kind of got roughly where my wheels are going to be and my crash helmet's going to be, my body's going to be and things like that. That wheel does look a bit too far back, but let me just check this. Yep, I think it's because I've got my halo quite a long way forwards. Obviously, we can have that further back if you would rather have it only 10 millimeters back or something like that. Okay, and we can perhaps bring different. We could always put the same part or different parts in the same position if we wanted to have that. Anyway, right. Moving on. So now we're going to do some design. I would say at this stage, print these out. All right. So I can fit this into my page. That's A3. Maybe I want A4. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print some of these, and now I can draw over it, so I can very quickly come up with some concepts and some ideas. But I've got some guidelines. I know roughly where I'm going to with this. All right. So I'm going to print some of these off, and you're welcome if anyone wants to come in and pick some of these up. I'll make some of these available. Maybe I'll do it with a halo in a different position. All right. I'm happy to print as many off as you like. I don't have to pay for printing. Okay, so that's what we'll do. And maybe in the next video we'll have a quick look at how we start sort of sketching and the things we're going to think about, the other fundamental ideas. Okay, so I'm just going to print page 1. Not going to print. Yeah, I don't care. Paper's cheap. I don't care about paper. Okay, and I'm going to print those. Okay. So, but at least now, as I say, I've got some lines and things that I can start working to. Okay, good luck. We got a week to go until we test these cars. Okay, it's going to be a few late nights.